Got it.
So what we've done is we've formed a response group, and we're all gonna form response groups of 4 people. I'm gonna sit in this time to sort of show you some of the inside ropes and explain the protocols for how this is gonna work, okay? The first thing that happens in the response group is after you have your 4 people together, is that the reader is going to read their paper, all right? We'll just start with that first step. Step number 1, reader reads. Then, after the reader reads, the reader becomes silent. The reader doesn't get to say. Folks, so the first thing that you do when you begin this whole process is you get your pencil or your pen ready, you pass out the copies of your paper to the people in your response group, and then the response group is going to circle or highlight or take notes or somehow designate on the script itself things that they want to comment on. What kinds of things are they going to comment on? Well, basically, to start with, we're going to talk about 4 things. The first thing we want to think about is, what do we think this paper is about? Or, if we can't kind of decide what the paper is about, or if we think it should be about something else, we're going to comment on what we think this paper could be about. So what it's about, or what it could be about. The second thing that we're going to do, and this is really important, is that we spend time noticing things in the paper itself that we like. We're actually going to tell the writer, this is something different, this is something your English teacher doesn't generally do, I would imagine, is to say, wow, this is really good. This part of your paper I like, okay? Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of be human, and we're going to say to ourselves, hey, I have a question. And it's not a question about, little nitpicky stuff. It's a question that, as a person, you're really interested in knowing. As a reader, what is it that you want to know more about, or what is it that you quite haven't figured out? Okay? And then this would be the 4th thing that we're going to do after we pray, after we say what we think it's about, after we praise, after we ask questions, is we're going to make suggestions. And those suggestions can start off with something like, what if you tried, and then you might want to insert a revision technique, like, what if you tried a little bit more Hemingway terse style here? Those kinds of things, all the little things that we've talked about previous to this. So, are you ready?
Yep. Howdy, Mr. B. Yes, we know who you are. We also know that you are the high pillow of the cabbage joint on 4th Street. Sweet, lovely cabbage, the sweet stench of metal and unwashed fingers, yes, the sweet stench of money. But you know who I am. I am feared and loved across the land as something of a legend. I am also the man who holds your children. It's the money we want, not them. However, the bank was well secured and forced us to throw any robbery schemes to the dogs. Notable that you managed to guard your dough better than your children. If you have in mind a picture of 4 hillbillies, the image you should have in mind is 3 hillbillies and a conman who knows all the tricks of the trade far too well. The coppers and house dicks have tried to nail me for years. In theory, coppers and house dicks are taught that nobody is above the law, and for those who submit to society, the claim is true. To ensure the safe return of your children, our demands involve $50,000. It is a lot in these times, but you have a lot in these times. It's no king's ransom, just a banker's loan. The procedure is this. On the 1st of December in this year, 1932, you will meet us at the state line dividing West Virginia and Kentucky. Come to the southern border at 11 p.m. of that day with the money disguised in a business suitcase. Come alone and unarmed. Any deviation will do no wonders for the children. Their fate will depend solely on how pressed for time we are and how angry you have made us. If you care for them $50,000 worth, you'll have them back no worse off than we found them. We have been more than fair with you and will not accept further delay. I will crumple up your telegram and spit on it. Please understand that I hold your business in the highest regard. However, it is your kind who must give back during these times to those less fortunate than you. Forever yours, R.R.
At this point, we're going to continue. And as we continue, Olivia is now silent. She's not going to respond to us. We're going to talk as if she weren't here, but she's going to take notes about what we say so that in future drafts, she can use what we advise her to do or not use, depending on what she thinks is useful to her. So the first step is for us to go around and say what we think this paper is trying to accomplish. What's the main idea of this paper? What's this paper all about? What's going on in this piece? Okay? Yeah, go ahead. Remember speaking a big boy voice.
I kind of thought that it was like a ransom kind of deal where there was like, it was like, which is more important, money or children? And then, or your own children. And, I don't know, I thought it was a good story though.
I thought it was very well detailed, like including where to meet up and the children, and like it was very like it was a threat in a way, and so I felt I could really like not relate to it, but like believe it.
Yeah, definitely believing. Throw something else in there.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of things. There's sort of a Robin Hood effect here. It sounds like this person might be, it might be a novel about a kidnapping, but I wonder too if it isn't about a movie. The 1932 and the slang roots it really deeply in the kind of sense of I thought a Superman, kind of Superman meets Robin Hood kind of thing. And I thought it might be a really cool idea to have this really 1930s character who talks like all the lingo from the 30s, but is a sort of Superman cross with Robin Hood. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know if Olivia meant that, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, a little bit of it right.
Yeah. Now, we kind of went around and said what we thought it was about. It's also important that we limit ourselves to 7 minutes in this whole process. So we've just used 2 minutes. Chris, you're going to tell us when we get to 9:28, and then our other 5 minutes will be up. But here's what's really key. We have to use the whole time. We can't stop early, because we owe it to Olivia to give her our best 5 minutes of advice. Not our best 3.5 minutes and say, oh, that's cool, we got done early. We all have to focus for 5 minutes on one piece of writing. Fair enough? All right, next step then is to talk about things that we like in the writing. And I'll start that. I think it's really cool that you dug up all of this slang, like high pillow and cabbage for money. That's the first thing that I noticed, and I'll just say that I like the slang.
I liked the ending of the story. Like, I really liked how they gave him like an ultimatum, like do it or not, and if you don't, these are the consequences. But I really question what the R&R stands for in the person's name. Like, what's their name?
Well, I think if you look at the title, that'll help, because the title is Ransom Runner,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming it's Ransom Runner. Yeah? And I'm also, you also said that you like the way it ends. I have a feeling this isn't the end.
No, yeah, it's definitely not the end.
Okay.
Builds up for a great sequel.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Like, it's gonna be a good sequel when she makes it. Like,
Or the next chapter.
yeah, the next chapter or whatever. Yeah, of the small letter.
I like the scenery that the piece gives. Like, I felt like I was in South of English.
What scenery do you like?
Like, says meet me at the border of.
Oh, so like the description?
Yeah.
Anything else that you like about that description?
I just thought it really was written.
Let's see, you will meet at the state line dividing Virginia and Kentucky. Isn't that a big state line though? I mean, where? I mean, maybe that's something, I wonder about where that is still. I don't, that could be a point. But I do like how she's beginning to get there.
Yeah, and I also wondered, what did the man do to make
Okay,
them
so let's move on. What's happening here is that we're moving really naturally, without thinking too hard about it, into asking some questions. So when Heather says, "I wonder," we're now moving on to that third step. She's asking questions. Okay, and that's really cool. Go ahead.
I wondered what the man did that the people would take his children and ask for so much money.
What the band did,
The man
that they would use it.
that would take his children.
Okay,
and-
okay.
I was a little confused where they like were talking about how like good they are with money, but not with kids. I don't know. I wish there was a little bit more detail.
Where is that in the,
I wish I had paper.
what, you didn't get one?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I think he's
didn't pass me.
bank is well secured, forced to throw away robbery schemes to the dog. Yeah, it says notable that you managed your guard of your dough better than your children.
So you think that that part is purposefully political, that, you know, here you are, the
Yeah.
rich kind of capitalist kind of
Yeah.
goofbag trying to guard your money better than we guard your children? Yeah, that just feels kind of
It makes it also makes this line right here also makes whoever R&R is writing to, it makes them sound really powerful, maybe rich in some sort, maybe like, I don't know, maybe a mayor of the town, or.
Okay. You know, I think that's true, and I think part of that power comes from that imitation of sort of like that Hemingway style of real terse, short sentences, and lots of specific American dialect words. So I understand why you would say that. I wonder if this is a movie, or if it's maybe a comic book, and I guess now we're moving into that third stage of possibilities, and so let's kind of talk together about what we might suggest for this. So, you know, I mean, I might experiment with making this into a movie or making this into a comic book. I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you want, what would you maybe suggest? Let me give you another idea of what I mean. I want to know more about this Edgar Billingsley. How is he going to respond? Is he more angry that he lost his kids? Or is he sad? Oh my God, my kids. How is he going to respond?
I think he sounds a little bit more angry. Because it sounds, well, I mean, R&R is making it sound like, he sounds like he's angry, because it seems like this guy cares a lot about his money.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I think what I did is I missed, I think what I did is I missed my point. I want to hear the Billingsley perspective next,
Oh, all right.
or before, or at some point. Yeah.
I would like to see the next chapter, which you said, lead off to what RR felt, because he seems like a angry rich man who just only cares about his money, and he may or may not care about the safety of his children. It depends on his character.
Do you think there's a Mrs. RR?
Well, we don't know if R&R is boy or girl.
Yeah, I think,
An R&R.
I think, I'm sorry, not Mrs. RR. Do you think there's a Mrs. B?
Well, I mean, if there's kids, there's gotta be Mrs. B.
I don't know, she could have split.
Sure.
I want to know about